Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
He's the one.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella's story out of nowhere.
Did you know that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself?
Capital hacking begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the big show. Hey, Josh McCallen here. Just want to tell you, we are going to re-release. This is a very rare thing. We don't do this in 430 shows. I think we've done it twice. This is where when we're on someone else's fantastic podcast, in this case, it's named Hidden Money Podcast with Mike Pine and Revo Tax Experts or Advocacy now. They do a show that I think every one of you needs to hit subscribe on their YouTube and on their Spotify and or iTunes, or what do they call it? Apple Podcasts now. That show, Hidden Money, will be a journey for you if you want to find out why the IRS tax code can help you make money. Well, anyway, he did a show where he featured accountable equity, and he did a deep dive into a deal we just did. And I don't want to spoil it, but it is an incredible masterclass on how he was able to help us leverage the IRS tax code to transmit tremendous tax savings and wealth building to our investors at Accountable Equity. So I had to ask him, can we have the raw material? Can we release your show on our platform to our thousands of listeners? No, not millions, but thousands, because we're a family of Accountable Equity investor community. So we're going to release it here. You can also find in the show notes the original release on Hidden Money Podcast. I think you're going to love this one. Stick around.
This is honestly one of the coolest syndicated deals that I have come across in my career. Once you peel back the details of this and all the pieces that we had to put together to get this done, the output for the investors is going to be absolutely tremendous, and I've never seen anything like it.
So we paid much less than half price, and they threw in 790 acres, and they threw in a bunch of buildings. Oh, and how about the number one ranked brand of destination golf in Maryland too. So all that came free, and we got the golf course for half price.
So right now, for any plain vanilla investor, you got 50% of your first dollar of every dollar invested back as depreciation.
You're going to receive tax-free income.
Tax-free income, baby.
Tax-free income in this fund for at least probably 2 to 3 years.
Well, somehow, Kevin, we have been able to land the busy, the famous, the infamous Josh McCallen from Accountable Equity on our podcast to interview him. We couldn't get him in the studio because he's traveling and doing way too many deals, saving so much money in taxes for his investors and our clients. But we got him here now, and an amazing editing team that's going to throw this into our podcast.
Yeah, Josh, thanks for joining us. We kind of teed up the episode already. They know not the nuts and bolts of your deals that you're putting together right now, but the general strategy of the purchase price allocation. We've walked them through. And man, this is honestly one of the coolest syndicated deals that I have come across in my career. And I'm not even helping you. Mike's been taking the lead on it, but I feel kind of jealous that I didn't get to jump in there with him at some point because it's so exciting. It is really... once you peel back the details of this and all the pieces that we had to put together to get this done, the output for the investors is going to be absolutely tremendous, and I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it was super exciting. But before we get that was a great teaser. Before we get to this awesome win and opportunity that Josh has, I want to just get into the background a little bit. Kevin, you haven't had the opportunity to work with him as much as I have, but when I met Josh, he had already, without Revo's help, without our help, and he never heard Hidden Money podcast because I don't think we'd started it yet. He had already created a fund, a family of funds called the Efficient Income Funds that offered 100% bonus depreciation, dollar for dollar for his investors. And when he was telling me about this, I was like, how did you figure that out? I still don't know how you figured that out, Josh, and we'll get into that. But then we realized we could do so much more together. And you've done 5 of those funds, right? And returned capital, kept the pref, performed above pro forma.
Hey everybody, it's Robert Helms, host of the Real Estate Guys radio program. And when you're not listening to our show, make sure you're tuned to Capital Hacking. You're going to dig it.
Yeah, the you want to talk about the efficient income funds? Or
The efficient income funds.
Efficient income funds. I'll hit this one quick, and then it'll open a door to a backstory. But efficient income fund was where businesses like ours always use leases. Leases, 2 different types of leases out there. The one where the investors own the equipment and get the tax benefit while they own the equipment. That's the ones we went with. They're called operating. Yeah, yep. Operating lease to me, the consumer. So let's go back a second. We own high revenue, high profit businesses within massive real estate. And we've always seen that as the power of unlocking the full tax code. Yes, I've been to, when you and I met at a great conference, you and I were vibing. I had heard all the, the rich dad, poor dad type of strategies of making sure you benefit from the IRS tax code. So I was a big believer. That's why you and I vibe so closely, is that I truly believe the IRS tax code is written as a roadmap to help grow businesses. Therefore,
amen.
Taxes shouldn't be drawn out of the businesses because the business itself is generating all kinds of tax generating activities for the government, meaning employment. It's funny when people say you don't pay any tax, and then they look at, I had 1,000 W-2s last year. I think there were a lot of taxes paid through the business. Yeah. But the enterprise value and the investors on our business shouldn't have to pay the tax. Why? Because then they're going to buy more of these and start more of these and do exactly what the IRS code wanted, which is why we pass through the passive losses.
I'm sorry, I'm going to get on a soapbox just for 1 second before we get more into this.
No.
You don't pay enough fair tax. Like you said, 1,000 employees in multiple states who are all paying tax, who are going to restaurants, who are going on vacations, who are buying things at the stores around them. They are what grow the economy. I'm sorry, I hate to get political, but Mandami in New York City, you steal all that money from them, who's going to grow jobs? Your grocery stores ain't going to do it, man.
Well, sorry. The money that an investor saves on tax goes into the next business or real estate project.
Yes.
It grows the tax base. And it did dawn on me this year, Mike, because taxes on the cocktails we sell, the wine bottles we sell, in some states are as high as 9%, right? So that is a pass-through, right? I don't get to keep any of that money, but I do collect it for the government. I'm their tax collector. We pull in 9% on beverages in Maryland. Sadly, that's a lot of money, and 6% on everything else. And same thing here in New Jersey. All of those millions of dollars are going to the government, so we're paying taxes.
Yes,
but
you are.
You shouldn't have to pay taxes
and growing the economy. And providing investors cash flow and tax benefits. So really quick before we get into this awesome deal that we were able, it was a blessing to be able to work on it with you. Thank you so much. Honestly, it was one of the most, I've told Kevin this, it was one of the most exciting, fun, very technical deals I've gotten to work on in my entire career. And I want more of these. But thank you, Josh. So you're different than a lot of syndicators out there because of what your underlying businesses are.
That's right.
You have cracked the code on hospitality. And I remember when I met you, it was during COVID. I was like, you said hospitality. I'm like, oh man, you must be hurting. And you're like, actually, we're not that bad. It was right out, after the shutdowns when the dam burst for you. So tell us a little bit about hospitality, how you do it differently and your model with the wedding venues.
Right. So so much I want to share. I know your show is focused on the tax, so I'm going to make sure we try to always weave that in. But we got to work for a family office right after I came back from Europe 20 some years ago. And that family office, I grew up in poverty, but I always knew we'd build something. So we had a nice experience living in Europe. I got all kinds of degrees. I was helping run a university campus in the Alps in a beautiful hotel. We came back to America in the boom days of the early 2000s, and I wanted to get into real estate. It was a dream my whole life. So we worked for a year to get into real estate. We worked for a family office. Now, here's what I learned from the family office, is that they just saw the world differently, right? They had already had a big liquidity moment, sold a big company, and now they were using that money to build other businesses. And so I think I had a disproportionate access to a lot of wonderful, conversations, wonderful deals and investments that they were doing. And during that, one of the challenges was that great recession of '08 left us with a few hotels. And those hotels were never supposed to be hotels for him. He wanted to flip them into condo buildings and tear them down and build gigantic towers. Well, that was a great idea in 2006, 2005. That was a phenomenal idea. And in 2008, that was a really hard idea because there was no real liquid. There was almost no liquidity. It felt like everything was stopped for a while. So he got stuck with these. And what we did is we did not crack the code. We just thought, hey, to get out of them, we're upside down by 50%. I mean, we overpaid in the bubble. Now it's not worth what it was worth. We came up with a business plan, came into the world of 4-star resorts because we said they're beachfront, they're ugly and stinky. They had that moldy smell that old beach hotels have. So I became a master at renovating and restoration. We built businesses. Now, in those businesses, we stumbled across a magical pivot in my life, and that was weddings. Now, at the beach resorts, weddings were just a nice way to turn Northeast America from a 9-week business, 9 weeks, that's it, to about a 15-week business, maybe 16-week. Still ridiculous, small. But the weddings were very important. So when we stumbled into the properties that I now do for Viva May, where we went off and learned how to raise capital, everything had to change for me. Like, I'd fallen in love with the ministry of hospitality, that if you love on guests, it's rewarding to you as the operators, you as the server. It's the whole epitome of selfless love if you can change your work into a gift of kindness and love. So that was what inspired me to kill myself, to kill myself working on this. And Mike's watched me buy many of these now, and he's like, man, these are getting harder and harder. But so in 2018, I had to say, what would it take to attract investors? Now, weddings were a happy thing that I had learned, and they were a bonus at my other properties. But I actually did learn that if you address the wedding business correctly, then what you're doing is you're pre-leasing the building. Now, that's a real estate person's thinking. So I had to think like a real estate person, even though my heart was in hospitality as a ministry. And when I dove into what we could do for people, I felt like my fundraising became a ministry. Here's what I mean. In the family office, every deal was going to be tax advantaged. Mm-hmm. Every deal was going to be multiple benefits for every dollar spent. But in the normal family, that middle-class family, maybe just accredited, becoming accredited, maybe they're first-generation wealth builders, they do not have access, typically, to strategies that both invest for growth, and maybe even for income as well, and also offset taxes. That is not a normal opportunity for most families in America.
Nope.
But I had already seen it. So, of course, I got, similar to you, I met wonderful teachers like you, Mike, at the time, and I realized, wait a second, the actual benefit of the tax code is it's on purpose that the investors shouldn't have to be taxed if you use the code right, so that they buy the next one. And boy, are we an example of that. When I met you, I had one of these resorts, probably had 200 staff in the year, and now we have 1,000 staff a year, and we have 7 resorts, about to be 8. So all of that backstory is to say tax and growth became like the way I thought I could help investors. And so it did color the way, it colored the way we looked at designing investments. And by the time I met you, you put gasoline on that fire. You've helped us help so many investors. And the reason is an investment has more than one benefit. And, I'm over here trying to make sure I can help as many hearts feel loved, find nourishment through hospitality. We happen to be one of the biggest wedding operations in the country. We happen to look at that as a way to ensure profitability for our investors. So it's all kind of like somewhat pragmatic, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, in order to achieve our dream, we have to take practical steps. And now you're right. I would say accountable equity, these growing portfolio of funds, it really has kept the idea of designing for purposely so that our investors get the best tax treatment. Anyway, that brings us to the Holy Grail, where we are today with you.
Yeah. Not ready to go there just yet, though, because the tax benefits are awesome and definitely the main reason we have you on here. But Kevin and I work with clients all the time that are making tax advantaged investments really just for the tax benefit. And they're willing to risk more or not even get a future upside. They're just buying down their taxes or taking big risk, maybe get an upside, maybe not. And your business is different. And I'm very biased. You're my client, and we get to do a lot of work with you. But I've seen you return investors' capital. And the reason yours is different compared to most of our syndicators is you're not just buying an asset and figuring out how to maximize revenue on it. Buy an apartment complex, fix up the property, and increase rents and try to sell it. You're buying and building a cash flowing business it is a secret sauce. You've cracked the code on it. Man, when my wife and I got to go up to one of your properties, Renault Winery, and we saw how it was like going to Disney World. I had my first internship at PricewaterhouseCoopers. They brought all the interns down, rented Disneyland for 3 days, and they showed us how it all worked. We got to go through the underground tunnels. Like, you could never see more than one Mickey Mouse anywhere, right? And I thought that was so cool and so amazing. You guys do the same thing with your brides. You'll have 3 weddings going on at once, and your team's talking to each other and in the golf carts, making sure not one bride does never see another bride. And it's a secret sauce. There's one more thing I want to get to, and then Kevin, have at it with the taxes. You introduced me to this really cool metric in hospitality and in hotels. And it was earnings. Like, I don't even remember what it was called. I want you to mention it. And if you're willing to kind of throw out how so different your operations are compared to others. But it's the additional revenue per dollar spent on a room at night. And your difference, the Viva Me properties, compared to the standards, is incredible. Can you talk about that?
700 times. So what he's describing, folks, if you have actually ever looked at a real estate investment or hospitality type of real estate investment, they'll often call it RevPAR, or revenue per available room. And what they'll do is they'll take this is anything from a Hampton Inn to a Ritz-Carlton to a Viva May hospitality property. They will take the annualized revenue of the room, even though they know you didn't rent it out 365 days, and they'll take the total revenue room divided by 365. Okay. So that is as if you were sold out all the time. What is your revenue per night? And that nationally will come in for like a 3-star nice property around $150 a night. And if you multiply that out, that's like $40,000 plus for a room. And that's a really nice annual room rent for a very small room. If you're a multifamily guy, that sounds really great, right? Mm-hmm. Very small footprint to get $40,000. But we are in a category called experiential hospitality. Now, for those who are geeky on here and that may have looked at investing in hospitality or may have looked at some kind of alternative investment that they actually can grasp, you will, if you start to kick the tires like I do all the time on the internet, you will see a lot of media right now around the world word experiential hospitality. They say with AI, with everything, really all kinds of different reasons why experiential hospitality is on the rise. But this is when you can buy other things at the property that you choose to experience while you're at a hospitality property. That's basically the definition. But most of the time, it's around wellness, which is great. It's usually around unique culinary experiences, unique other, learning experiences, immersive experiences. Well, we do it in 3 ways. We came up with a theory. Drive to leisure is the most durable type of hospitality, more than anything, more than corporate, more than anything. And that proved out in COVID. They were the first businesses that came back, everything like that. Second, we believed that if you really want to make great returns for your investors, you want to go for 3 to 4 multi-million-dollar revenue businesses per property. That is revolutionary. A typical hotel business is 1 multi-million-dollar rev stream and 1 tag-along rev stream. So for revenue stream. So for example, it's almost always rooms are 80 to 95% of the revenue of the property. And then if there is some type of food and beverage outlet, it's the rest. Mm-hmm. If it's just the bar at a Hilton Garden Inn, then that's 5% or 7% of total revenue. So at our businesses, no, but here's what's interesting. I'm sorry, geeking out. The Hilton Garden Inn is a great business to buy, but it is 100% dependent on the natural demand of that market.
Yep.
which means that market is in demand because the FIFA World Cup is coming. Then you can charge whatever the heck you want to charge because there's not enough rooms. Beach hotel, clearly you get the beach season. But guess what you don't get? Anything other than the beach season. You don't get anything other than that. That's called natural demand. What we learned from buying the hardest possible type of properties first is that if we design a sales machine that sells the fullness of, sells the business, we can actually put a lot more trust and guarantee on our performance. Now, I've touched into 100 different things there, but that is the crux of experiential hospitality. Either experiential hospitality is a buzzword, and it just means you can do 1 or 2 hiking trails on a property, or it's the highest end of experiential hospitality would be a casino. The next would be like a Kalahari water park. Okay. Then those are like maxed out. Those have very high total RevPAR. And that is the category that measures between the rooms RevPAR and total RevPAR, T-RevPAR. And if those, they can get into the thousands, $1,000 per night per room. But we're talking a casino or a Kalahari water park. Over here, the rest of the industry, there is almost no difference between total RevPAR and RevPAR. It might go from $150 a night to $160 a night. Okay, that's normal. I Googled and tried to find the most expansive total RevPAR that's not a casino, and it was Gaylord. Gaylord can get 2.5 of the, I think it can get 200% more revenue outside of the room than in the room. So that makes it a $300, $400 a night to $500 a night. That's what a Gaylord can get because of the total RevPAR. We just did the analysis for Forbes. We were covered in Forbes because we built one of the country's largest luxury wedding businesses, because we have a robust 5 luxury golf courses now, because we have wineries and other things we make money with. Now we have luxury spa. And because we do ticketed concerts and events, our total RevPAR and our smallest total RevPAR is $803. Wow. Our highest this year will be $1,100. And we don't have a water park and we don't have a casino. So what we've figured out is don't look at them as rooms capacity assets. Look at them as massive businesses. And if you sell the demand, you can charge more on the room rent as well. So that is for those really critical thinkers. That's what that just was. And sorry we went so deep, folks. But total art is awesome.
Hi, this is Melanie McCallen. Josh and I are just so grateful for the many investors who have already joined us at Accountable Equity. Accountable Equity is so much more than a capital group. It's really a community of accredited investors that want to learn and grow together. I just want to personally invite you, if you want to find out more about this type of investment and see if it's right for you and your family, please visit us at accountableequity.com.
Hey, it's Hal Elrod, author of The Miracle Morning, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. Enjoy.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to get to that is this is not just a tax investment. This is a great tax investment that actually will cash flow. Exactly. And you have a history of doing so. All right, Kevin, get into this tax stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm already sold. So on the tax side, we do have to be careful though, because as coming in as a limited partner, which you guys listening would be coming in as, there's going to be some caveats for the deductibility of these losses. Now, there's always ways. This is where Mike and I come in, is there's ways to make losses from a limited partnership investment as a passive investor become active against your W-2 and against your trade or business income. Does it take effort and work? And yes, it does. It takes intentionality and it takes some proactive planning, but it can be done. So you can invest passively into a deal like Josh's and maybe get active loss treatment. But let's say you're not able to do that because the stars do kind of have to align and you have to have the fact set to back that up. And we could get into that in another episode, but it revolves around real estate professional status, right? So if we can't achieve a real estate professional status, you might be thinking, well, what good are these losses? I mean, I have no passive income because if I'm a high W-2 earner and if I passively invest something, Josh's K1 coming to me is not going to offset my W-2, right? But here's the thing. All this cash flow, this new term TPAR, look at me go. So with the TPAR like this, you're going to have income from this fund year after year coming through on a K1. Now, these aren't guaranteed. There's always risks in investments, right? But if you're allocated a loss in that first year, which in Josh's deal, which he's about to walk through, is going to be a substantial depreciable loss coming to all the limited partners, even though it's not deductible that year against your W-2, that loss is not lost. It carries forward into the next year. So guess what? Now, when Josh starts kicking off return, those losses are going to come alive, and they're going to offset all of that income. So you're going to receive tax-free income.
Tax-free income, baby. Tax-free
income in this fund for at least probably 2 to 3 years, unless he just kills the income and he just wipes away, So it's a tremendous tax asset to have passive losses, but a lot of times Mike and I focus on the active tax loss because that's, hey, I'm getting tax savings today.
Okay.
But there is still so much value in passive losses.
And for non-real estate professionals, non-hospitality professionals, there are ways, if you really need active losses, that Josh would be willing to talk to you and work with you to make it active too. We've run through a whole bunch of ideas. But let's talk about this opportunity, Josh. In a nutshell, we can cover most of the tax, but just give us a nutshell of this amazing opportunity that Kevin's already.
Where do you start?
In.
I'll tell you what. I'm listening to the show and I'm thinking to myself, if they're on the other side of this, like, what the hell are we even talking about? What property is it? So what we found is, doing the right thing is attracting good leads of new businesses. So we have been in the Annapolis market as a resort operator now since COVID, actually. And yes, we have wonderful waterfront resorts down there that do different things, including hotels, of course, corporate and wedding. And one of the guests, think about this beautiful flywheel. Some of the guests have come and actually reached out to us and asked us to buy their properties. So that actually happened over the course of the last year with a treasure. And the treasure was anybody who is in Washington, D.C. right now or Annapolis, they will know the asset called Queenstown Harbor Golf. It is a 790-acre destination resort golf asset that has been slowly, lovingly being built since the 1970s. When the family who we bought it from, the original family, they bought a historic farm called Queenstown. Queenstown, actually, the name of the farm was older than that, but so when we bought it, we were buying from the original builders and owners. So I think we got a great basis on it anyway. But they brought it to us because they knew we would steward it. Now, what is it? It's 790 acres. That property has 2 fantastic luxury championship length golf courses. And they also owned a property in the Annapolis market, so not on the eastern shore of Maryland. I know this is a national show, so you may not know this. But I think everybody knows Annapolis is a coastal. It's where the Navy, the Naval Academy. Yeah, so Naval Academy. So this is a very coastal area. And it's very close to Washington, D.C. These properties are all within 40 to 55 minutes from Washington, D.C. So these are easy drive to from massive wealth. And that's what we're buying. So we have basically 2 different locations, one in Annapolis market, one on the eastern shore, right over the bridge past Annapolis. Total aggregate land value scale is over 900 acres. And we bought 54 golf holes, and we paid $25 million for the whole package. Now, right there, what was curious to me is 2 things. One, people have probably never thought about buying golf resorts. I did not realize this, but because of inflation, because of infrastructure costs, if you and I want to go fix up a golf course today and buy one that needs a lot of renovations, we will need to budget $1 million to $1.5 million per hole.
Ouch.
To make a nice course.
That's why I don't play golf.
So that's how expensive it is to build a course hole. So with that, we got 54 of those for $25 million. So we paid much less than half price. And they threw in 790 acres, and they threw in a bunch of buildings. Oh, and how about the number 1 ranked brand of destination golf in Maryland too? So all that came free, and we got the golf course for half price.
Yes. And here's where it even gets more exciting. So like you said, the people selling it, they'd had this place forever. They put a lot of money into it. And here I learned I don't know if we've talked about golf on our show before, Kevin, but I hate it. I suck at it. I tried it. I was assigned to do it. It makes no sense to me hitting that little ball with that little club, and every 100 shots you getting it to go where you want it to go, and the other 99 just being frustrated as all heck. I will play golf if I'm allowed to use my shotgun to shoot the ball that you hit. Otherwise, I'm out of it. And I know nothing about it. But what I learned digging into this when I started talking to Josh's team about this purchase they were going to do, I learned how much stuff goes underground to build those courses. It's not like...
It's not just grass and sprinklers. Yeah.
It's not just grass and sprinklers. There's raised turf. There's so much stuff. These bunkers. Oh my gosh, the drainage in the bunkers. You just see the sand. I just thought it was a sand pit. There's so much stuff there that the IRS says, hey, that's all 100% depreciation. That's all allowable. And we were able to work with these sellers, and you were required. Here's the trader business. Buying a trader business to operate as a trader business, IRC 1060 says you have to do a purchase price allocation, or we might come in and do it for you. So we worked on it. We decided what are the reasons accountable equity is buying this property. Why are they paying all this money for this course? Looking at their business plan, it wasn't to just be a golf operation. No, it was to buy an existing and good golf operation, but to grow it into being a Viva Made brand. And that allowed us to allocate a ridiculous amount of their purchase price to these depreciable assets, which gives Josh and accountable equity the ability to give how much? I mean, a lot of depreciation to their investors.
Hey guys, it's John Vroman, founder of Front Row Dads, and you're listening to Capital Hacking, the best investment you'll make today.
Right. So, I mean, the secret sauce here, Mike, you're absolutely right. What a amazing program we all put together here. So we buy golf courses. We'll buy golf courses, wineries. Why? Because they're rich experiences. They also attract a lot of tourism. And then we overlay the hospitality piece, which is restaurants, other activations, and of course, our being one of the biggest wedding operations in the country, we overlay massive weddings. But did I forget to tell the people that there's 5 miles of waterfront on this property? It's crazy. It's like a peninsula. So we got 5 miles of waterfront for free too. Don't worry about that, folks. Oh, and a 45-acre hotel resort land entitlement provable. We got that for free too. So you know what? This is the secret sauce of my business in general. It looks a lot like real estate. I mean, today our little portfolio is 1,900 acres of beautiful real estate. But it also functions with a lot of equipment. So, I mean, I don't know. It's almost like a manufacturing.
It is.
Sense, right? So what's great about equipment is the government has wisely incentivized the consumption of new equipment. And then you and I, the better the equipment we buy, this is just philosophically, the better the equipment we buy, the less man hours we need to execute quality. So it's all kind of working in our favor right now, Mike.
Yeah.
The IRS code's working to support businesses like us to keep reinvesting. We are helping investors take all those benefits from us. This is just the beginning of working with you on this.
And this specific property has some of the most amazing pre-built, relatively new golf holes. Again, I don't know this, but I'm told by all my friends that love golf, wow, they want to play there. And that is like high-tech stuff they have there.
And then we have even a Top Golf. You know, so Top Golf is a brand that many of us have played. And it owns a course property, what do you call it? Like one that you can license to your country club or a golf course. So they have Top Tracer Golf at this property, which means it's a lot like a Top Golf. The only thing that it doesn't have is the 5 stories, you know what I mean? So we have that too. So even if you don't love golf and you just want to play golf ball hitting and play Angry Birds, you can do that here too.
If you can arrange it for me to be allowed to go there with my shotgun and shoot the balls that the people hit, then I am there.
How about you get
absolutely there?
They got good food. You know, you can eat, drink, and watch me golf, and we can have a good time with Josh. You know, we'll figure that out. You'll like it, Mike.
We'll work on it. That's true. You've proven me wrong on putt recently, so it was more fun than I realized. Okay, so here's the opportunity that's just awesome. We've heard about the asset. Oh, let me also add the reason. So again, you didn't buy this to operate as a golf course, although it's a heck of a golf course, and it's something that Kevin already wants to go golfing on, and hopefully he gets to go without me. But I'll hang out at the marina, man. You provide demand for these places, not just for golf. People are only going there for golf now.
Yeah.
People are going to be going there for weddings because you create that demand.
That's right.
You've proven it over and over and over again. So it's not just, hey, I'm buying an operating golf course. You go look and underwrite golf courses out there. You know, they're very cyclical because people are only going there to play golf. People here are going to be going to play weddings or going to plan their weddings.
That's right.
By the way, I had no idea how expensive weddings are. And Kevin, let me just say, thank God I have 3 sons. I'm sorry with your 2 daughters.
Oh, no.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
But that's a once in a lifetime experience, and people are willing to pay that. And go over to Accountable Equities. Where should people go if they want to just start looking at this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, for one, I'll give out my cell phone for God's sake. I'd love to meet.
Don't do that. I don't recommend that.
No, but Accountable Equities, the company that is all of us investors. We come together as a group of wonderful families. 480 of us now have written checks and become beneficiaries of these assets. So Accountable Equity is where we own the real estate and the businesses, but Viva May is the brand. It's the Auberge or the Blackberry Farm or the Marriott. So Viva May is the type of hospitality functions that we do, which is very robust, a lot of different experiences, as I joked about earlier, and we do it for the sake of love. So it's a beautiful brand we're building. But
look at the track record, though. You go by vineyards. Boom, you create more demand, and now it's profitable. And compared to when it was just a vineyard.
I will say that about your business too, or Evo, and all of us. If we remember, no matter whether we're the world's best CPA strategist or not, if we remember, or even if we're the world's best culinarians or golf, if you can shift your mindset and become a great sales operation, then truly you can control your destiny. Now, it requires that you design product, meaning whether it be a wedding venue or a marina waterfront experience. It actually has to be aesthetically right to the market and to what the woman is willing to pay. But if you then go out to sell it with a rigorous process, you can ensure your business plan as best as anybody can ensure anything. But it's not just luck. And I think that's your point. It's some strategic investments up front, the aesthetic and the distribution and marketing. And then it is a robust team and it is rigorous sales. And we pride ourselves on being a sales company like that. And we think that's the best part of it. And when you say, oh, by the way, you forgot the punchline, folks. This is why we were doing well during COVID. Mike joked about it. A woman pays us 25% of the entire experience 18 months before we have to buy the chicken dinner. Now, that is as if, I don't even know what other business does that. It's basically pre-selling the entire building. And then she'll pay us the other 50%. So 25 plus 50 is 75%. The 50% comes in 6 months before I have to buy the steak. And then the last little bit of money comes in the weeks before the event. So we are always in a cash position on the contracts, and they're not breakable, right? Once those checks are written, it is not breakable. So
boy, do I thank God that he gave me 3 sons. I used to complain a lot. We really wanted a daughter, but thank you God for those 3 sons. When I hear stuff
my
like
wife
that.
says, no, people joke that's why we went in the wedding business. Nah, yeah, whatever.
Now, let's talk about the tax stuff. So this opportunity, good investment. Do your own due diligence. Talk to the people at Accountable Equity and hear about it, learn about it, look at their track record at the other places. But the tax. So right now, for any plain vanilla investor, you got 50% of your first dollar of every dollar invested back as depreciation.
Now, we always try to get to 30% every time year one. This one we were able to guarantee. Now we're at 50% of every dollar that comes in. If you take the package where it's really good preference rates and 0 splits to sponsors until you're fully recapitalized, that comes with 50%. Mike and I are working for those that have a legit need for some depreciation right now. We have surplus depreciation beyond the 50%, and we are designing a specialty class for investors that have, sizable amounts of tax strategy, tax needs for an even more aggressive, hopefully up to 100% passive depreciation for a special class.
Yeah, there's a lot of science and technicalities that go into that, but it is absolutely there and available. And the cool thing is, this is a 2026 operation. And if you invest in 2026, you get that depreciation to offset your 2026 taxable income. This opportunity won't exist if you wait too long.
Yeah, because we put it out to market. We did a $15 million raise, and we brought in $9 million so far. So we own it. That was the budget to acquire. We just acquired it recently. And now the projects begin that are in the business plan. And so the raise continues until it fills up.
Yeah. So I love the tax opportunity here. I love the cash flow opportunity. I think it's an amazing investment, and you're an amazing, amazing person to be able to work with. I love being part of y'all's family. If you have any questions, and if what you heard is kind of interesting, but you need more depreciation or you need to get active depreciation roll, there are ways to do that. And for the right people, Josh will work with you to do that. Man, I love it. Is there anything I've missed, Kevin or Josh?
No, I think that's one of the benefits of kind of an operator like you, Josh, is there's some people out there trying to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. They're not going to give out their cell phone. They're not going to come up with special prefs and series and kind of options for people. And I think that even your hospitality and the money raising portion is shown. Like a lot of syndicators are just like, this is my deal, take it or leave it. You're like, no, I want to actually serve people and I want to get their needs met. If you have a need, let's design something and we'll design a special class of stock. Let's do it. There's no bad idea. And so even just in the money raisings, I could tell you're set apart with even just this conversation.
No, that is it. And Mike and I actually are ready for somebody who has a legit need. We have some concepts that we can offer to them that are incredible.
Really cool concepts.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for that on a future episode, and we'll talk about it. But Josh, I know you're busy. You got 1,000 employees to make sure that you're covering their payroll for. So more than 1,000.
So true. Sell.
Yes.
Pay your payroll tax.
We'll let you get back to work.
Thank you,
but man, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for the opportunity of being able to work with you. You are an amazing partner to have.
Well, thank God. I feel the same way about you guys. Revo, let's go.
That's right.
Let's revolutionize, baby.
This is not a CPA firm, and these services are not regulated by the Texas State Board of Public Accountancy. This content is for educational purposes and does not constitute tax or legal advice. Always consult a qualified tax professional for your situation.
Damn straight. We just got
buddy.
We got to the end of another great show, and everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.